If you are wondering where to move in Florida, this week's Naples market gives us a very important clue. The answer is not just about finding the cheapest city, the lowest priced, or the biggest house. The real question is this: where is demand still strong and the lifestyle is hard to replace? Naples is one of those places. That is what separates certain Florida markets from the national headlines. So you may hear that real estate is cooling, and you may hear that higher interest rates are slowing buyers down. And in some areas, that's true. But in Naples, especially in the coastal boating, the golf, and luxury lifestyle communities, the story is more specific. Scarcity still matters and lifestyle still matters. Cash buyers, they obviously matter, and the best locations are not all moving the same way as the broader market. I'm Chris Alley, Naples, Florida Realtor since the year 2000 and certified luxury home specialist and pricing strategy advisor. Each week, I break down the Naples, Florida real estate market so buyers and sellers can understand what is really happening behind the numbers. And this week, the median sales price went up, and now it's currently $598,750. Over the past 7 days, Naples had 171 new listings, 80 sold listings, and 165 pending listings. There were also 42 terminated listings, 184 expired listings, and 24 homes back on the market, 110 extended listings, 9 price increases, 202 price decreases, wow, and 44 withdrawn listings. So you may be asking, Chris, so what does that tell us? Well, I'll tell you. First, buyer activity is still real. We had more homes sell that came on the market, and eventually the supply and demand are going to meet up. There were 171 new listings, but 180 sold listings. And with 165 pending listings, buyers are still writing contracts. So that's not a frozen market. But the second message is just as important. There were 202 price decreases and 184 expired listings, and that's a lot. Those are homes that are no longer on the market anymore. And that tells us that buyers are not accepting. That tells us buyers are not accepting every price, that they are active, but they are selective. So when people ask where to move in Florida, I would not just tell them to look at the broad Florida market. You have to look at the micro market of every town, and you have to ask, where is the true scarcity and where is the lifestyle difficult to repeat? Where are buyers still willing to act, and where are sellers being forced to adjust? That is why Naples is so interesting. And so we're going to go over some examples. We're going to start off with the most expensive home, but then go through and take a look at some of the median sales price homes. A home in Port Royal is not the same market as a home in Golden Gate Estates. A condo in a golf community is not the same market as a waterfront estate. And a villa in a gated North Naples community is not the same market as a beach area condo. They are all in Naples, but they do not all move the same way. So this week's example is in the luxury sale in Port Royal. So let's go take a look at that listing right now. The most expensive home that sold this week was located on Rum Row in Port Royal. It was listed for $44 million, $8,180,000. This was a 2026 new construction home. This was a 2026 new construction waterfront estate with 6 or more bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, and 9,643 square feet of living area. It's sold furnished with direct Gulf access, no bridges, 160 feet of waterfront along Hidden Bay, and a Port Royal location near the Port Royal Club, 3rd Street South and 5th Avenue South. That sale tells us something very important. The ultra luxury buyer is still here in Naples, Florida. But even in Port Royal, the home did not sell at full asking price. It sold for about $3.8 million below the list price. So the message is not that every seller can ask everything and get it. The message is that the rarest opportunities still attract serious buyers, but those buyers are still watching value, and that is the difference. Port Royal has what I call an economic moat. There's only so much direct access waterfront. There's only so much Gordon Drive, Rum Row, and deep water boating access. There's only so much land near the beach, the bay, the Gulf, and downtown Naples. And as they've always said, location, location, location. That kind of scarcity is why certain Naples neighborhoods can behave differently from the national real estate story that we all are exposed to. But even with that scarcity, price still matters. Now let's compare that to what buyers found near the median sales price. So let's go take a look at this one in the Wilderness Country Club. The first example, as I mentioned, was in Wilderness Country Club, and the property was listed for $625,000, and it sold for $585,500. It was a three-bedroom, two-bath low-rise condo with 1,965 square foot. It had a golf course views, was partially furnished, and had access to a gated golf community lifestyle. But the total annual reoccurring fees were $58,644. And there was a $130,000 mandatory club fee due as a one-time fee. This is a major example of why buyers cannot just look at the sales price, especially in Wilderness Country Club. At one point, these condominiums were much lower, but the price was very high to be able to get in. We would get a lot of calls about the low price condo, and then when we told them about the high golf fees, they said, well, we don't want those. Well, there are communities such as Wilderness that it's mandatory that you join the golf course. So in this case, the buyer had to pay that extra $130,000. The purchase price may be below the median, but the ownership cost is a completely different conversation. So this next home was located in Village Walk. So let's go take a look at that one. This villa was listed for $630,000 and it sold for $597,000. It had 2 bedrooms plus a den, 2 bathrooms, and 1,680 square feet. It had lake views, a remodeled interior, a newer roof, a brand new air conditioning, and access to gated community amenities, including pools, fitness, tennis, pickleball, walking paths, and an on-site town center, which does include a post office. The annual reoccurring fees were $6,644, and the tax bill was $273. That is a very different value picture. So for some buyers, Village Walk gives them a North Naples location, amenities, lower maintenance, and a lifestyle that is easier to manage. And no weekly market update would be complete without mentioning a home in Golden Gate Estates. So let's take a look at that one. This home was listed for $598,500, and it sold for $598,500. It sold for the exact same list price. It was new construction, built in 2026, with 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 2,004 square feet. It sat on 1.14 acres, had no HOA, and the tax bill shown was dollars, likely reflecting new construction tax treatment. This is a completely different reason somebody may choose Naples, Florida as the part of Florida to move to. The buyer is not buying a beach, proximity, or a private club. They are buying land, a newer home, more flexibility, and no HOA. So if you're deciding where to move in Florida, this is the key lesson. There is no one answer. In Naples, the right answer depends on the lifestyle that you are trying to buy. So if you want boating, scarcity, and the highest waterfront lifestyle, Port Royal is in a completely different category. If you want a golf and a club lifestyle, a community like Wilderness may make sense, but the fees and the club costs must be studied carefully. And if you want gated amenities and a North Naples location, Village Walk may fit a different buyer. But if you want space with no HOA, Golden Gate Estates may be a better fit for you. And this is why broad market headlines can be misleading. A national article may say the market is cooling, but Naples is a collection of smaller markets. Some are cooling and some are correcting, and some are still showing some strong demand, and some are protected by scarcity, like Port Oil. The most important thing right now is to look at the numbers and then match them to the kind of lifestyle that you want. So for buyers, this means you shouldn't assume every price reduction is a bargain. This week we had 202 price decreases, but a price cut does not automatically mean the home is a good deal. You still need to compare recent closed sales, days on market, the total fees, insurance costs, location, and resale value. For sellers, the market is still active, but it's not careless. With 180 sold listings and 165 pending listings, buyers are still moving. But with 184 expired listings and 202 price reductions, buyers are also pushing back when the price does not match the value. So sellers need to be very clear about what makes their property special. Is it boating access, beach proximity, golf, gated communities, low fees, new construction, no HOA, or a rare location that cannot be duplicated? That story matters, but the price still has to make sense. And so here is the final takeaway. If you are wondering where to move in Florida, do not start with the state map. Start with lifestyle. Naples continues to attract buyers because it offers something hard to replace: beaches, boating, golf, gated communities, luxury neighborhoods, restaurants, healthcare, airport access, and a strong quality of life, regardless of where your location is here in Naples. But every part of Naples has a different value story. Port Royal is about scarcity and waterfront luxury, so that area is going to be the premium location for price. Village Walk is about gated North Naples convenience, and that is selling for below the median sales price. Wilderness is about golf and club lifestyle. Again, it's sold below the median sales price, but you're paying for the lifestyle. Then there's Golden Gate Estates, and it is about land, flexibility, and no HOA. It is one of the most active areas in Naples, Florida right now. So the best choice depends on your goals, on your budget, and the full cost of ownership. This is not a market where buyers are gone, and it is not a market where sellers can ignore the data. It's a selective market where lifestyle and scarcity and value all matter. I'm Chris Alley, Naples, Florida Realtor since the year 2000. If you want to stay current on the Naples, Florida real estate market, subscribe to this channel for my weekly market update. And remember, people like you reach out to me each and every day. I'll see you on the next Naples, Florida market update, and stick around for this next video. I know you're going to love it. Bye for now.